I was expecting House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 6 to be full of drama, full of tension, full of conflict, especially after Episode 5 was the slow-paced filler episode. Did I get what I was expecting? No. Was it still a brilliant episode? Yes. Today we're reviewing House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 6. This series means so much to me. This series has provided me with a range of emotions I didn't even know I could feel. So let's jump into reviewing this episode. If you want to see the reviews that I've done for the previous episodes, I shall leave them in the description box, or you can also find them on my channel. So this was a long episode. It was essentially like a short movie, but it didn't feel long. When you're watching it, it's like you enter some kind of time warp. In this episode, I was expecting the Dragon Seedlings storyline to progress, which it did. They were alluding to that in the previous episode, and it's starting to all unfold. We are starting to progress with that. I'm happy about that because that is a storyline I'm very excited for, and I'm glad that we saw a little bit more about that in this episode. I think there's a lot of drama to come with that one. One thing that I've got to give credit to with not just this episode, but the whole series, is that their shots of like the scenery and the environment and the world around them, they're brilliant. This episode starts off with some beautiful scenes of the Lannisters marching across the grounds, and it's just stunning. You've got to give credit to just how the whole thing looks. Yes, the plots and the storylines are brilliant, but also the actual production and how it just looks and feels and the vibes that it gives. Oh, I just love it. It is currently 6 in the morning whilst I'm filming this video, so there might be a lot of brain fog. Quite early on in the episode there is a scene at the council table. I love the council table scenes because you can really see like the passive aggressiveness of all the characters. So at this point, Aemond is getting very angry because he is being summoned by the Lannisters to the Riverlands. He doesn't want to leave King's Landing undefended, and he's also taking the title of king to his head a little bit, even though he's only King Regent. He dares to summon me with haste. Great Aemond impression. And I think that's a core theme of this episode, is that Aemond is taking his role very seriously and it is getting to his head, and he is feeling more powerful, which is something he never had in his childhood. Let's be honest, he never had any power, he never had authority, he was picked on a lot. Now he's in position of ruling the realm, and the power is obviously going to go to his head. I think that we were all expecting that. He's at the point now where he's interrupting Alicent, he's acting as though she's not there, he's ignoring everything that she says. I've mentioned countless times in the previous reviews that progressively more and more throughout each episode, Alicent is being pushed to the side. She may as well not be there. Aemond undermines and disrespects her, and he essentially dismisses her from the council tables. He's turned into a monster, but with her as a mother, who can blame him? In this scene, they were also putting the feelers out there, possibly of Alicent getting married just for an alliance. Obviously, she's not very happy with that idea. And they were also alluding to the foreshadowing of a battle between Aemond and Daemon. My uncle is a challenge I welcome. God, my Aemond impressions are popping off today. There's huge foreshadowing here for what's to come in future episodes. We also see in this episode that Rhaenyra has finally acknowledged that Daemon is literally pointless when she says, "I must proceed as though I stand alone." Daemon is only out for himself. He's also spent the entire season just tripping balls, and we do link that to the Dragon Seedlings storyline, as a huge part of this episode is that Rhaenyra is sourcing people with High Valyrian blood in order to try and claim a dragon. Now that didn't go down too well in this episode, which we'll get onto in a moment. So we do see a lot more of Daemon as well in this episode. He is hardcore tripping again. We get a nice little cameo from the actor who played Viserys. I always quite liked Viserys. Also, what has Daemon's dragon been doing this whole time that he's been at Harrenhal? Whilst he's been off his face on drugs, what has his dragon actually been doing? And then we also see a little bit of Alice Rivers as well. She's been consistently in most of Daemon's scenes at Harrenhal, and she references the ghost of Harrenhal and also taunts him for threatening to leave. I'd be interested to see if they change her plot at all from how she's written in the books, or if they're just going to follow it true to the story. That'll be an interesting one to see play out. So then we have probably my favourite part of the episode, which was the very cool scene of the bloke trying to claim the dragon Sea Smoke, because he has the Targaryen, Valerian, yada yada blood. The whole scene was a masterpiece. The music, the tension, the chanting, the darkness, and how you could see the dragon's eyes through the darkness. When the dragon emerges, the scale of the dragon compared to the humans, the silence and the tension before the dragon approaches. I was expecting a bit more of a jump scare when the dragon lowered himself as though he was accepting the man to claim him. So I'm glad that the scene didn't make me jump out of my skin, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't like a jump scare. I'm not a jump scare type of person. So I thought that that was really well executed. I do feel very sorry for the man that he was burnt to death. However, Rhaenyra did warn him that there's a possibility he might be eaten alive. And it was a risk he was willing to take, but it did not pay off. Poor guy. He seemed dead sweet as well. So although that didn't work out, in this episode we do see a glimpse of the future dragon rider to Seasmoke, which I believe the person's name is Adam Hull. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, there was just a glimpse of that in this episode, and I'm very excited to see how they execute that in future episodes as well. We also see another person who they're alluding to being a dragon seedling, and this was a character that was in a previous episode. Is his name Hugh? Why has Hugh just come into my mind? Maybe his name is Hugh. Basically, the guy in the inn who was dissing Aegon and claiming that he had Targaryen blood and saying that Rhaenyra was the rightful heir to the throne, and then Aegon wandered on in, drunk, as he was speaking about that. So it seems like in this episode they were setting everybody up for the dragon seedlings, they were planting the seeds, and they were just alluding to who the dragon riders could be that would be in support of Rhaenyra. I like that hinting. I like the way that they trickled that into the episode. They paced it really well. I feel like it would have been too much if in this episode we immediately found somebody who was able to claim a dragon. I really liked that. They've paced that well, and they've shown that it's a lot easier said than done. It's a lot more difficult. For example, Rhaenyra is trying to source these seedlings, but it's really difficult to do. I'm liking the way that they did that and the way that they paced that. We see Aegon starting to make noises and have a little bit more life to him again. He's in his process of recovery. Very randomly, I watched a TV show the other day called The Jetty, and Aegon was in it, which I didn't know prior to watching it. So whilst Aegon was badly burnt and recovering from his wounds, he was filming in The Jetty. Understandably, it will be a very slow recovery for Aegon. It won't be a full recovery. His life is forever changed. One thing that I picked up on in this episode as well is how Larys Strong is trying to twist Aegon around his finger. He is using Aegon's vulnerabilities to manipulate him, maybe gaslight him a little bit. He also tries to use the connection of them both having disabilities as a way of gaining Aegon's trust and loyalty. And it's a way of Larys cozying up to power and getting Aegon on side. I do feel really bad for Aegon. Yes, he was arrogant and cocky, but he didn't deserve that. I don't know most people who would deserve that. So really interestingly as well, in relation to Larys cozying up to Aegon, we also see Lady Mysaria cozying up to Rhaenyra as well. So she uses her own vulnerabilities to try and get Rhaenyra on side. She has been advising Rhaenyra, she has been guiding her, offering plans and ploys. She suggested the plan of sending the food and grain to the people of King's Landing with the banners on it. And so it's turning the small folk against the Greens, and that led to there being that riot in King's Landing that Alicent and Helaena were caught up in. And then there was the whole idiocy of that guard chopping the hand off the civilian, which just made things 10 times worse. There's a lot of conflict that's been building up in King's Landing over the past few episodes, and that plan that Lady Mysaria and Rhaenyra concocted has fueled that. And Lady Mysaria also tells her own vulnerable story of her past. She's using that as a way of breaking down those walls and those barriers with Rhaenyra. So like Larys is twisting Aegon around his little finger, Lady Mysaria is twisting Rhaenyra around her little finger. There's also a very random lesbian scene. I don't remember if that was in the book or not. Could somebody please enlighten me as to if that's in the book or not, because I don't remember if it is. We also get a little glimpse into Rhaenyra's storyline as well. So at this point she has discovered Sheepstealer, who is a wild dragon, and they are foreshadowing big things for her character here. Maybe suggesting that she attempts to claim the dragon. My favourite thing about the episode was that we got a doggy cameo again. Everybody's favourite character, the beautiful dog. This dog has been such a core part of the series. I feel like he's in most of the episodes and everybody roots for him. We love to see the dog thriving. So I do gotta say, I have not been a fan of Damon's storylines at all in this season. I do get it. I get why he's there, and I do get why these hallucinations and delusions are happening to him. He's literally sleeping in a bed full of weirwood roots, and it's just all a very haunted place going on over there. And there's also a lot of Easter eggs and references to A Song of Ice and Fire history and the whole lore behind this world. So there's a lot of really like historical reference and Easter eggs that people can pick up on in his scenes, which is really interesting. However, he's just so pointless. He is such a useless character at this stage. He has literally contributed nothing, and I just kind of feel like his storyline has dragged out for so long now. Like, we're 6 episodes in and he's just done the same thing every single episode. They really need him to like do something now. I feel like a lot of his scenes are maybe a bit fillery just to pad out the episodes and make them longer. And I'm just a bit bored of him. I gotta be honest, I was enjoying his hallucinations and all of that kind of stuff first. I thought it was really interesting. I like his flashbacks and the references to what happened in the previous season. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, come on, just get on with it. I'm just a little bit bored of him. So that's the only thing at the moment that I hope they start to change in the remaining couple of episodes of this season. He just needs to do something. Let me know if you agree, and also let me know if you don't. So final concluding thoughts on this episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Again, there wasn't like huge amounts of tension, but it was stepped up a notch from the previous episode. They're progressing the storylines at a nice pace. Some people think it's a little bit slow. However, I think that if you rush things too much, it doesn't give the same emotional impact. So because we are now building up tension, we are laying the foundations for the Dragon Seedlings storyline, I think that when those things all come to a head, it's going to hit a lot harder and it's going to give us more of an emotional impact. And I can't wait, and I'm so excited. And there's only a couple of episodes left, I believe, of the season. And I think that they're gonna be deep, so get your snorkels ready. I'm quite proud of that, I just made that up on the spot. So what did you think to the episode? Leave me a comment and let me know. I'd love to have a discussion with you about it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like to let me know that you did. And if you enjoy my content and you want to see more from me, then please subscribe because it is free. Thank you so much for watching this video, I really appreciate it. I will see you next time, or rather you'll see me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.